Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my first encounter report using Collodi, Puppet Master of the Neverborn. It's been a few days and a few games since I've played this battle, so you'll have to forgive me if my memory's a bit ropey. With Warhammer I'm able to keep several games in my head at the same time, and just looking through the pictures kinda jogs my memory, and you never know the difference. But with Malifaux there's so many micro actions, and tricks you don't see, that to be honest, I go back through some of these photos and I'm like, yeah, that's a model. So I'm going to do my best, bear with me. So here's our battlefield. All the rocks and buildings and stuff are just impassable terrain. We've got a few walls that are walls and some severe terrain over here. The strategy is reconnoitre again, and I actually really like this one, so that's fine with me. In the scheme pool we have a line in the sand, assassinate, deliver a message, bodyguard and take prisoner. We both revealed deliver a message. We both kept our second scheme hidden, and I went for assassinate. Shh. Not generally a good idea with Collodi, I gather, but I thought it paired quite well with deliver a message, and once you see my crew, maybe you'll agree that it wasn't too unreasonable. The crew I think is a bit unusual. I won the deployment flip and asked my opponent if he'd very kindly deploy first, and it really doesn't seem to be as big a deal in Malifaux as it was in Warhammer. From the left, my opponent has Angelica with imbued protection. At the back there is Colette with cabaret choreography, shell game, and arcane reservoir. In front of her is a proxied Wave 3 model, the Ice Dancer, and I predict we'll be seeing these in a few Arcanist crews in the near future. Next to her, on the big red base, is another Wave 3 proxy, the Arcane Emissary with Elusive Conflux. That sounds a bit unhygienic. Behind that we have lovable Cassandra, and she's got practiced production, something you're unlikely to see very much on this channel. And rounding off the troop we have the Performer on the far right there. This is my deployment, and you may note some rather innovative proxies. I pull out all the stops for you guys. So these bases with paper stuck in them are in fact my gups. Swamp fiends in a puppet list, you ask? When my friends sit right there, all will be revealed. But first let's introduce the marionettes. There they are. And leading the show, hiding behind that wall, is Collodi himself. And he's got Strum the Threads and Breathe Life. Not a particularly impressive opening act, I'll admit. But waiting in the wings, we have Bad Juju with Internal Fiend, and Killjoy with Retribution's Eye. I undernerd about the eye, because my original plan was to give Bad Juju Hexed Among You, which would have put 2 gups behind this wall and maybe 1 gup here, but I worried that might leave Juju and Killjoy a bit isolated, and allow Colette's entire crew to focus on them to bring them down in one turn. Thinking about it now, I'm not sure whether or not that wouldn't have been the better idea, because then my gups could walk up, leap over, and be engaging Colette if we got the first turn. And then if he kills the gups, out comes Bad Juju to deliver the message. If he dies, out comes Killjoy, and so on. Lots of things could happen, but I'm fairly certain I can end the turn with someone in base contact with Colette, and 2 monsters having wreaked havoc in the deployment zone. As it was, I decided to play things a bit more cautiously, and make sure Killjoy kills whatever he hits. And with any luck, that'll be Colette. So let's go into turn 1, there's my hand. My opponent goes first, and Angelica moves up to the house. And oh look, I forgot to introduce that spider thing. Steam Arachnid is what it is. My gups run up, the far left flank leaping away. Not very good position if I'm honest, but there we go. And then the Ice Dancer moves up, walking twice and using that to give her a 4-inch push. And that's not quite the position I want to be locked down in, but it's fine. So second gup goes, failing to leap. I think that's Cassandra going, poking the emissary over the wall and moving to cover the right flank. The third gup leaps up, or rather it looks like it fails to leap, but it gets a nice central position. Hush Killjoy, just a little bit longer. The spider scuttles up. A marionette takes a stroll. Colette goes, summoning 2 doves, and I don't know what else she does. The marionette in the dress moves up to the wall, and a dove flies over to perch on the Ice Dancer's shoulder. At this point my opponent asked me what I was doing, moving everything right up to the centre in a reconnoitre match. And to be completely honest, ladies and gentlemen, I've completely forgotten about the strategy. Whoops! But it's not really a cause for concern, because the way I like to play reconnoitre is to take the centre in the first turn and try to pin my opponents in their half of the table. On the second turn when scoring actually happens, I'll have 2 rather useless minions in my table quarters, holding the backfield. My force in the centre will hopefully make it more difficult for enemy crews to break into my table quarters, and I have the bulk of my models in range to jump into any quarter that I want. So ideally I'm looking to control 3 quarters on the first turn, scoring a point and denying one to my opponent. A third marionette moves up here and pushes the marionette in the dress over the wall, using the drag along ability. No idea what's going on here, maybe he's buffing something or stalling an activation or something. My last marionette moves up, and the plan's forming now. I'm going to shove these gups down the centre and try to conjure in Bad Juju or Killjoy. Who cares about the 6 inches of the centre thing? It's all about the prestige, you know. Hopefully that will cause enough of a fuss to bring Cassandra back around to the centre, and these guys are going round the flank to get to Colette. Because Collodi was up all night writing that message. Something again happens over here, no idea what it is. Might have been going defensive with the showgirl or performer or whatever she's called. And then Collodi just moves up and goes defensive. Because I've got no idea how to use him properly. As you can tell by the fact that I didn't my will the marionettes into a better position or the gups up the field to where I want them to be. I personally puppeted one of the marionettes, but I can't remember which one it was. So we go into turn 2, there's my hand. Not bad. Unfortunately, I lose initiative. The Ice Dancer goes and kills my gups, bringing in the mighty Bad Juju, the River Troll, Maya Golem. Yeah, baby. So then some gups jump forward, and that's a really bad position. I think I was trying to tie up Angelica with her 2-inch engagement and lure her into wasting her activation. But yeah, looking at it now, I don't like it. I should have gone more into the centre there. Gratifyingly, the Emissary takes the bait. I've got no idea what this thing can do, but I'm sure it's horrible and nasty. And if it wants to waste its activation on my guplings, it can be my guest. It dutifully pulverises them with one action, and summons forth Killjoy. Collodi's waving his arms around to make it look as though he's doing the conjuring. Gotta keep up appearances. And the Emissary finishes off its activation by putting 2 damage on Killjoy, which was a bit rude. But now Killjoy's out making a mess of things. There's an obvious 3rd table quarter for me to target, so the marionette in the dress moves up to engage the Ice Dancer. The Arachnid charges Bad Juju and does a couple of damage. Bad Juju activates, healing that damage. Landslides, causing Angelica to have to cheat because I can draw a line of sight through that window, and then flurries the Ice Dancer to death. Now I'm pretty sure the mechanical budgie did its 0 action, presumably the defense flips 1, but I can't remember who on. Flies at Killjoy and explodes, causing 2 damage. And now it's Killjoy's turn. I think I heal up 1 with Gorge, and then discard a card to flurry at the Emissary, taking it down to its last wound. Ah, so close. If only I'd had the grey matter to put him within 1 inch of the Emissary, so that he could bleed all over it, it would be dead. But I think I didn't do that because it would have put him on the centre line, and I wouldn't have been able to score with. Another reason why the gups positioning there by the wall was a bad idea, I think. Okay, it's a bit hard to work out what happened next because all of Colette's crew can push each other around so much, but I think Colette went next, wisely prompting the Emissary away from Killjoy, 0 actioning the Saber Trick to cause 2 damage, before moving away and then prompting Cassandra to come up close to Killjoy and take a fireball shot at him. Somehow she managed to miss Killjoy's fat ass, and instead hit Angelica in the face as she peeked out a window. The shot had to be randomised because they're in engagement range. So yeah, I'll take that. So with Cassandra distracted, the marionette creeps up around the side. The performer siren calls Killjoy right up next to Cassandra and the Emissary, and that's a brave move. I'm in no hurry, so these gups move across to enact the flanking plan. And oh, I think I see, he moved Killjoy over here so that we'd be drawing, or contesting even, 2 models each in this table quarter. With her hair on fire, Angelica backs off and goes defensive, I think. The goose-stepping marionette moves up, and both these guys are right on the centre line, which means in fact he's holding this table quarter. Which means Collodi's got to go and sort out his strings a little. He goes fast, walks, and then my wills the marionette over the line to hold the table quarter 3-2. This one's going to go after Angelica, and this one I'm keeping right on the edge of that 6-inch circle because I don't want to get drawn too far out when all the action's going to be going on over here. The final marionette just moves over here, joining the Get Colette party. And so we end the turn with Collodi scoring 1 and Colette scoring nothing. Turn 3, an average hand. I think we both draw pretty low for initiative, so I spend a soul stone and with an ace. So I could be wrong, but I think Colette went first. She moves the emissary out of range of Killjoy. And then I don't really know what happens, but I think she might have prompted the emissary to attack Killjoy. Presumably some kind of casting action, because it didn't have to randomise. But whatever it was, took him down to his last 2 wounds and slowed him. Collodi's not having that. He goes fast. He double walks up, the centre be damned. 0 actions stitched back up on Killjoy, healing him 2 damage, and then pulls the strings of the emissary, tearing it to pieces. Killjoy then activates as an accomplice, gorging to heal 2 more damage. He attacks Cassandra and probably misses. Cassandra attacks back and I red Joker the defense, it looks like. But then, she hits him good. But he hangs on in there and bleeds over her little dress a bit. Girl mannequin moves up to engage Angelica. And then the performer goes, sticking a hairpin in Killjoy's eye. And the hulking Glosson beast is brought down by a little girl. How humiliating. So I think bad Juju goes and fails to kill the arachnid. I think this must be Angelica giving them an encore with Cassandra, pushing her up into contact with Collodi. Apparently she's got a message for me. The marionette desperately tries to help out, dragging Collodi 2 inches away and moving to lock up Cassandra in engagement. It's not going to work. Cassandra has nimble, and to make double sure, the spider just moves around and moves into contact with Collodi. Nothing I can do. So that's the showgirls done. One marionette runs up behind a rock to make sure we get Colette if she moves any more towards that back corner. The gups scramble directly at their target, and this mannequin holds back to make sure I have this table quarter. So there's the end of that turn, and I honestly don't remember if this spider was within the 6-inch bubble. If we go back up to this picture where my mannequin sat right on the edge, it's really close and I just can't tell. And unfortunately I didn't write the score down, so I'm working it out through the pictures. But to give benefit of the doubt, we'll say it still counts as scoring, and so no one scores points this turn. Turn 4, not my best hand. My opponent wins initiative, and nibbles Cassandra to deliver the message. Boo, shame. But I'm surprised he didn't use the arachnid, as I'm pretty sure it's not a peon, and that would have freed Cassandra up to really whack away at Collodi. But oh well, a silver lining for me I guess. But then the gups make their leap without me having to cheat, and deliver the message to Colette. Very kind of them. Colette is most displeased with this, and ends the gups' sorry existence. It looks like she then moved to prompt Cassandra up to attack Collodi. I can't remember whether she did any damage, but I used the opportunity to run away home and get out of engagement range. Right, so here things get a bit complicated. If I'm right, the marionette runs over to engage the 2 showgirls, and all I want to do is pin Colette there. Then the performer goes, fails the siren's call, succeeds with the second, and pulls Collodi onto the centre line, whereupon he runs away home off the centre line, and so he's got line of sight on Colette. He then goes fast, and pulls Colette's strings for all he's worth, and he must have got her down to her last 2 wounds, although the only trigger I could get off was slow, because Collodi's not so great at taking on masters. Angelica then goes and fails to kill the marionette, because of it's hard to kill. So the marionette goes and brings down Angelica, thanks to Collodi's proximity. And it turns out my opponent had taken bodyguard, and she was the one to protect. So that was quite a stroke of luck. The spider goes and does a crazy amount of damage on bad Juju. It hits a severe and then triggers its overheat for 5 damage. Juju promptly landslides Cassandra, slowing her, for whatever good that's going to do, and messes her up a bit in return. And that's the showgirls all activated, so Goose Step Marionette scrabbles away at Colette, and thanks to Collodi's inspiring presence, puts her on her last wound as she soulstones away. Nearly there, Colette. Rounding off the turn, the marionette leaps out from behind his rock, so I'll have 3 people beating on Colette next turn. That should be enough, I think. And the turn ends, and I score another point for Reconnoiter. We go into the final turn, and my opponent beats me to the initiative again. The performer escapes the marionette's clutches and pokes Collodi with her pin. He's only got 3 wounds left, and she hits a moderate, doing 3 damage. But I soulstone for 3. Lucky. Right, well for me, I've been playing pretty well this game. But we should all know by now that that's not something that generally lasts. So, are you ready for me to go full retard? Despite being hit, Collodi can still draw a line of sight on Colette, and so doesn't bother running away home. To compound the mistake, I then attack Colette with the creepy marionette, trying to draw out cards before Collodi drops the bomb. And I succeed in that at least, but I don't do any damage. But then it's Colette's turn, isn't it? So she drops a scheme marker, and prompts the performer to poke Collodi again. I flip the black joker for my defence, Collodi dies horribly, and now I'm left to finish her off with marionette. Just great. The girl marionette charges the performer out of rage, and I don't think it does anything. The slow Cassandra attacks Bad Juju and fails to kill him. I then go for Colette with my last marionette. He hits her, he damages her, but then she soulstones, because she's got an endless frickin' supply of them, and then pulls a particularly douchebag move called Now You See Me, which kills the performer and heals Colette 5 wounds. Are you freaking kidding me? Never, I repeat, ever take Assassinate on Colette. I know I'm probably the last person on the planet to realise this, but right here is Quod Erat Demonstratum. Crap sticks. So to make me feel better, Juju punches Cassandra in her pretty little head and she dies. And there we go. The end of the game. I score a final point for Reconnoiter, and no points for Assassinate, putting me on 6 points to my opponent's 3. One more turn, Colette. One more turn and you'd have been mine. What a brilliant game, and what a great first outing with Collodi. Bit of an unconventional crew. It was really just a bit of a fun idea that I had to try, and I'm pleasantly surprised that it didn't suck, at least in this game. So I might not ditch the idea and try it out a few more times. But yes, so lessons learned from this game. Always run away home, and never try to assassinate a stage magician. Many thanks to my opponent for giving me such a good run of it, and thank you for watching. Take care.